everyone. This is our first podcast of 2018, Chats with Chels. So that's when I'm interviewing some people who are doing, awesome things and have awesome stories to tell. So today I'm here with my friend Susan Day.
Hello.
You guys may know her as the Office Yogi.
Yes. That would be me.
So, for those of you who, don't really know about the Office Yogi, she makes really cool videos and has an online community to help the busy person get through their day. So, you want to tell us a little bit about the Office Yogi?
I certainly will. Yes. Well, thanks for having me, Chelsea. And I'm glad to be here. So the Office Yogi is an online site. I teach corporately within St. John's area, and I have actually a team of people who teach yoga in businesses. But what I'm finding is that, or what I found is that, people want to have a class on their workspace, but they're just, then they have a meeting or the workspace becomes unavailable because of meetings, like it's usually conference rooms, or people travel, like I've taught at places where they have people traveling a lot. So what I decided was to create the Office Yogi so that people can log onto the site. It's a membership site, and do the videos on the site so they can do them at their desk. Essentially is what I have now is short, quick videos to stretch your shoulders, your neck, your back, your legs, breathing techniques, because breath work is a huge part of yoga. It's as equally important as moving.
I forget to breathe all the time.
There's you're not alone. Yeah. And and then I'm getting into now, this is my new initiative for the first quarter of this year, is to start uploading classes on the site. So if a person wants to get another coworker or just themselves, go into a conference room, turn on the video and do the class, or do it on their own at home. So it's a hub of videos, healthy and information. Like I'm going to start sharing recipes. My friend's a holistic nutritionist, and we're going to do a little swap, and she's going to provide some recipes and meal plans for the site. So I think of it as a growing, because it's still fairly new, hub of healthy information for busy people who work in an office and who have a life outside of an office as well.
So you mentioned to me a few minutes ago, we were just having a little chat before this, but it was only recently that you actually, fully dived into doing your teaching and starting that. So how did you kind of get started in this yoga sphere?
Yeah, so I've been, it'll be 5 years in April that I did my first yoga teacher training. I did that in New York City at Sonic Yoga. And before that, I was actually a full-time IT professional. So business analyst, project manager in the IT sphere world for over 15 years. So since I graduated university with my business degree, I went into that world. So it's a total leap, but then that's kind of the two worlds come together in the Office Yogi, really. So I had started practicing yoga. I have an aunt who's a yoga teacher, so it's always and I remember my mom had this yoga book when I was young, and it was like the woman in the leotard doing all these crazy kind of poses. And so I was always exposed to yoga, but when I lived in Toronto, when I worked up there, I did my first class at a community center, and I was just hooked. And one of the things that hooked me was the shavasana at the end of yoga practice.
I actually have a shirt that says, "I'm just here for the shavasana."
I have a tank top like that too. Yeah, even though sometimes people find shavasana the hardest part. That's at the end of a class where you just lie and be instead of do something. So it's that was what hooked me, and I even said to my friends at the time, you have to come, there's a little nap at the end of the class. So I started there, and when I moved home in 2000, I dabbled. I went to my aunt's class who lives here, and about once a week. But then I started at Nova Yoga almost 8 years ago, because they just had their anniversary. So it was just after Melanie opened, and I fell in love with Vinyasa Flow. And through that and some of the people I met there, I decided to go and do my training at Sonic, which is where Melanie had trained, and a few others there had trained. And then I came back and was not doing, so I did that when I finished a contract with IT. So I was an employee for many years of a company called XWeave, but then I gave that up and went out on my own because I wanted to be my own boss, and contracted myself out as a business analyst or project manager. So my contract had ended end of March. I went away middle of April till middle of May. I came back, and there was a lot of stuff going on. I was mostly at government, and it was summer starting to come, and so there wasn't much happening in the IT world. So I thought, what am I going to do with my life?
I feel like so many of us.
Oh yeah, well, and I mean, you'll always have it, right? Your whole, if you're in that kind of space where you are not content to just like do the grind thing,
Totally 9 to 5 is like it's oh gosh, like sitting in front of a screen all day. Well, I mean, I do sit in front of a screen most of the day, but like just like doing like the monotony.
But it's your choice, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, I was out for a run one day with that whole like, what am I doing with my life? And I came up with the idea of the Office Yogi. So I went home, and my cousin's a web developer, and she had done a site for my IT work. And I messaged her. I'm like, is the Office Yogi available? And it was. So I'm like, get it for me. And so that's how it started. And I started teaching again in person, locally, corporately, really marketing myself there, and then. It was just like, the Office Yogi online has only been online for the videos for a little over a year. It was like November of 2016. And before that, I met a woman at Enlo, and the Newfoundland Labrador Organization of Women Entrepreneurs, and she was a mentor. She was the head of the mastermind group, kind of our facilitator. Yeah. And she was kind of like, what are you doing with your life?
Ask, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Where you think you're going with the Office Yogi and stuff. And so she mentioned online and showed me some ideas. And so that's kind of where it started. And so it's evolving, and for this year I really feel like there's a lot in the works that I'm going to like totally expand the site, and I'm really excited about it. I've learned a lot this last year. It was, it's been humbling, and it's been a real learning curve, but I'm really excited about where it's going.
It's so funny. I had like such a similar experience. I was with like the Memorial Center for Entrepreneurship.
Okay, yeah.
And this was like a year and a half ago, and the director there, Florian, was like, you should start a podcast. And I was like, yeah, okay, Florian, whatever. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, get real. And then I actually like was starting to watch Crystal Hobbs, her Connecting
Yes, yeah.
I was like, wow, like she gives us so much valuable information.
Mm-hmm.
I really love like learning from other people and hearing their stories to tell. And I was like, maybe I'll try it.
Yeah.
And now look at us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was the same with my yoga training. I have a coach. We've been working together for years now. So way before I thought about becoming a yoga teacher, she said, she knew how much I loved yoga and practiced it. And she's like, well, do you ever think about doing your training? And I'm like, never. No, I'm not doing that. And then it percolated in the back of my head for probably a couple of years. Yeah. And then you just got to be open to stuff. That's my thing. It's like you can say no right away, and I do that, but I'm learning not to. I'm learning to like let it sit and think, oh, maybe that's something I could think about doing, and to not pen myself in. This is something I'm trying of like, okay, I'm a yoga teacher, so this is how I have to be, or I'm teaching corporate yoga, so this is what my site has to hold. Like I'm trying to just be fluid and see what people resonate with, what I resonate with, and move from there. Yeah.
And I find that's a huge thing with like society today. I just did like a blog post not too long ago, but people kind of want you to box yourself into like one specific role.
Yeah.
So I've been like doing like marketing and design, and people are like, oh, like when did you graduate from business school?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, actually, like I'm still in school and I'm doing biochemistry.
Yeah.
And people are like, what? Like.
Yeah. I know. I see that a lot, but I think there's more and more people like you and like me, I guess, who are breaking down what the norm is or what the path should be. Yeah.
And one of the things like I found recently is like I love how much information is online now and like how much that you can learn. So that's why I'm like such a big fan of what you're doing, because if you don't have time, or even if you don't have like you can't afford to spend $70 or $80 to go to the yoga studio, you can get your relaxation techniques and health techniques online. For sure.
Well, one of my I guess philosophies for the Office Yogi is that, first of all, it doesn't have to be hard to be effective. Right? Like we are in a society or in a culture where we think like I have to work really hard, like I have to go run, or I have to go kill myself at the gym, I have to lift weights, I have to go to a sweaty yoga class. Like all those things are great. Yeah. Like I do a lot of those things. But I also am realizing that the subtle things are really where it's at. So noticing your breath and deep breathing, moving your body instead of being stuck in one position. And it's not, there's actually a term called the sitting disease, which Google it, there's lots of information, and it's kind of scary, but at the same time, the cure for the sitting disease, so things like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, The cure for it is to move your body periodically throughout the day, like frequently, I guess, throughout the day. So yeah, going to the gym or going to a yoga class or a run is really good. But if you're still stuck in one position for 2 or 3 hours, like we have fingers that move, we have hands and wrists and arms and shoulders and toes and feet and legs and hips, like they're all meant to move, right? And we're not moving our body, so that's when things start to get stuck, and then that's when the body becomes in a state of dis-ease. So yeah, we should be in a state of ease. Like I always say, I don't want to feel my body parts. Unless, you just did a workout or something. Like I don't want to feel my fingers. I don't want to feel my toes, my feet, my wrists, my back.
That makes total sense. So do you have any other wellness tips for the busy person that you would like to share? Yeah.
So again, like small steps can lead to big changes, like that we all know. So it's like a portal, right? So if you have never really noticed your breath and never really paid attention to the breath, or you've never really stretched during the work day, then just start doing that and see where it takes you. Like try to let go of what you ultimately want to be or see or whatnot, and just enjoy the journey. So just start small. It doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to take up much extra time. And seriously, and I'm as guilty as this as anybody, we say we don't have time, but then we have time to go on social media, right? I always say, in the same amount of time you can check your social media feed, you can move and breathe, and you'll feel better.
It's so funny. I was listening to Tim Ferriss' podcast the other day, and I can't remember who he was with because I just listen to so many, and they all kind of blend together now. But they were talking about that concept is you don't have time, but it's not that you don't have time or you're too busy. That's just an excuse. Yeah. Their idea was more, it's not important to me.
Right.
I'm not making
it's a choice you're making. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's thinking of it as willing versus unwilling. So,
right.
Are you willing to, have an unhealthy or sore body from sitting for 3 hours?
Yeah.
You might want to say I am unwilling, so I am going to do these stretches.
It's what's the priority, and it's a choice. You are making a choice. When you don't even realize it, you are making a choice. You're choosing not to do something or choosing to do this versus this. So again, it's getting out of the victim mentality, that I don't have control. I'm too busy, there's too much going on in my life versus this is a choice I'm making. Here's how I'm choosing to spend my time. Yeah. And it's not easy. It's not to choose to do something that you're not used to doing, because we're creatures of habit, right? So if you're more used to checking in on your Facebook feed at 10 o'clock in the morning, then it's going to be hard to go and do a video instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I noticed is when I first started my company, I was hustle hard, and I feel there's that huge mentality of if you're not always hustling, you're just not going to win, you're not going to do well. And so I'd be 12 hours a day, from Monday to Saturday, and probably a few hours on Sunday. Yeah. And you just burn out so fast.
Well, I like the term align, not hustle. Yeah. So hustle, and I think I hustle for sure, but I also like to align my life, my days with what I want to, my values, what is important to me. So feeling healthy and feeling at ease is important to me. So sometimes that means going for a run or a walk or a hike or a yoga class or getting on my mat or getting up earlier when you don't necessarily, when you could, I have to tear myself away because I have, from my computer, I have so many ideas for my site that I have to tear myself away to do my stretches or get, get something healthy for lunch or drink my water or whatnot. So but it does get easier though. It's not going to be easy at first to change your habits, but it does get easier.
And I totally found that too. It's I heard another quote. I'm a big quote fan, but
yeah, me too. I know, I have a lot too.
But it was if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Yeah. And that's what I found. With myself, I was overrun. So I was running a company, I was in school, and I had a couple jobs. So as of January, I'm unemployed, self-employed, but unemployed because I was these jobs are giving me a little bit of a consistent income, but they're not making me happy. I'm not, I'm dreading when I have to go. And the other day I was so excited because I was it would have been a night that I would have had to work, and it was a snow day. Or it wasn't a snow day, they didn't call one.
But no, but it was yucky out.
Yeah, it was so gross outside. And I was you want to know what? I'm I can work from home today.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
good
don't
for
have to
you.
go outside.
That's amazing, because that is so hard to let go.
Yeah.
Like, that's something else I'm thinking about this year, is letting go, because I have, again, my life is, the reason why I want to go online is that I love my freedom of like traveling with my husband and training and just being able to go for a hike in the afternoon or not go out in the evening if I don't want to. So of course teaching a lot is like you're driving all over the city, you're, you know, preparing. It's a lot of work. Like I love it, but it's a lot, like it's hard to sustain it. And I'm almost 5 years doing it now. So it's kind of like, but it's really hard to like let go of like if like a class, like no, I can't not teach this class anymore. Like, oh my God, that's so hard. And again, like the whole idea of like you won't have as much money, but you'll have the freedom. Like it's a choice, right? And that's kind of like, that's been my life over the last few years. It's like, I definitely took a pay cut when I left IT, like especially last few years of it, I was a contractor doing really well, but I could go back to IT, but I just can't, right? At this point, who knows? Like maybe someday I will. I toyed with the idea many times, but the pull for my freedom is too much.
That's like me too. I just, you know, so I was just telling you, like for quite a while, I was planning on going into med school. Yeah. That was like the goal. That's why I'm a biochemistry student. Yeah. But once I like started having my own business and like have my own freedom, and I'm like not an authority person. People are like, do this, and I'm like,
that probably wouldn't be good in medicine. Right? Yeah.
Like, I was like, well, I'm planning on being like a family practitioner, because you know it's kind of like being an entrepreneur. But then I was like, this is a long road, and it's probably like I'm not going to be happy for like 4 years of trying to get there. And I was like, I'd rather just have my freedom and do something that I like. So I guess it's kind of like navigating like those bigger changes, right? And being okay with uncomfortable, and being okay with like, this is hard. This is really hard. You know, as opposed to like, oh, okay, like everything's got to be easy. If it's the right decision, it feels good or feels easy. Like, no, not necessarily. Especially like those like bigger decisions, and I feel like a lot of the time you're getting like outside pressure, right?
Oh yeah. That's another benefit of yoga and breathing and moving your body. Breathing especially is that you really get to, I say you tune out so you can tune in. So you tune out the chatter around you. Meditation is good for this, but breathing is a form of meditation. When you notice your breath, that's essentially what meditation is. Then you get to, if you tune out the chatter, then you get to tune into like what really speaks to you. Like I like this, and no, I don't like that, and even do that like throughout your day. I just wrote a blog post that went out today about that. Like every so often in your day, take a deep breath and like, how does this make me feel? Whatever you're doing, like, do I enjoy it? Does it fill me up? Does it give me energy? Or does it drain me? Does it make me like not want to do it? Like, and you don't really have to do anything with that at first, but just notice those things, right? That or the thought of something, like the thought of going to med school. Like, how do I feel when I think about spending the next 4 or 5 years in med school? What's your first, and then that will eventually be able to guide you. Yeah.
One of the things that, I've been really working on myself, is like when I'm feeling things, not just like, so taking the minute to like recognize like I am feeling this emotion. Yeah. But I also have like started to be like, well, why am I feeling this way?
Right. Yes. So
recently like had a situation where I was just like dealing with like a super difficult person, and there's someone I just don't really have like a choice but to deal with. Yeah. And I was like, that's
life for sure. Yeah.
I was just feeling like so frustrated with them, and then I just stopped and I was like, why am I letting this person take up space in my head? I was like, I can't change who they are, or so I just like kind of stop and be like, okay, like I felt upset or I felt frustrated, but that took up time, and now I'm like ready to move on from it. I was like, there's nothing I can do about it, so I just have to accept it.
Good, that's awesome. Like that's huge, because you're in control then, and you're not reacting. And like, we're not always going to be like happy, and we're not going to be like loving every person, but again, it's like, what is the feeling I'm having, and then why am I having it? And then what can I do about it?
So what are some of the ways that you deal with those difficult people?
I would say that I deep breathe a lot, and because I do have a few, not a lot in my life now. In the yoga world, it's different. When I was in IT, it was like, there's a lot of really good people there, but there's also, it's really hard. What I would do is, like, I take a bit of Kundalini yoga class, and it's all like we are the same, like I am you, you are me. So it's kind of like looking at someone as like, okay, how can, like, where are the similarities? How are we the same? And I mean, essentially, we're all just trying to get by. We're all doing our thing. Everybody has stuff going on. What is it? One of my favorite quotes. You never know, like, what is it? Be kind to everyone you meet, because you never know what battles people are fighting. That's not the exact quote, but that kind of idea. Like, so if you're driving somewhere, or you're at Costco, is like my trigger place. But before I go into Costco, I take some deep breaths and I just go, and then I'm like, you never know what that person who's annoying you with their cart is going through, or that person in the parking lot, right? And a lot of times driving, I'll see somebody and they'll be, going slow or whatever, or fast, or just doing something I'm annoyed with, and I'm like, then I look and it's like, oh, that could be my dad, or that could be my mom, or so I would say, like, just kind of look at them and try to find some common ground somewhere. And pardon the pun, we're here at common ground. Deep breathing, and then just accept that this person triggers me, and that's okay, right? And I've had people, it's funny, like, you kind of flip a switch sometimes, like they get on your nerves, and all of a sudden when you think about it, then you're just like able to let it go a little bit more. It's not easy, definitely not, but
so funny when you're just saying, like, about the driving thing. One of the things that, like, I learned about first year psych class, but is like a self-serving bias. So if I cut someone off by accident, I'm like, oh shoot, like, that was an accident, like, didn't mean to do that, or like, I'm in a hurry, shoot, like. But then, if someone else does it, you're like,
oh, right.
Like, oh, that asshole, like, I hate him, like, who drives like this, like, where did you get your license, license.com,
I know.
I'm so bad, I have so much road rage, and I know, like, it's not, like, outward, like, chasing people.
No,
like, but that's
it bothers you inside,
exactly.
Yeah, totally, I know, right? Like, we do things all the time that annoy other people, right? So, knowing that we're not perfect, and that we're all kind of in this together, and we're all just trying to get by, and like, trying to, if someone is really, like, sometimes there's family members, things like that, and you just, like, take your deep breaths, go into a room if you need to, like, if you're, like, just past Christmas now, and you had to spend time with family that you didn't want to, like, just take care of yourself too, right? Like,
So for one of our, or I guess it's our first podcast of 2018, but I'm adding a new feature to these podcasts, which is called the Jar of Awesome.
Ooh.
So I took some questions from people.
There's a lot of questions in there.
Well, a lot of them are mine.
Okay, yeah.
But some of them are from, Instagram followers, or they're from Facebook. So if you guys have any questions too, if you're watching while we're, chatting, feel free to ask. So we're going to pick a couple out, and we're going to let Susan answer. So
all right.
Shake them up.
On the spot.
Pick your brain.
I saw you post a couple the other day. I'm like, okay, I know the answers to that, or I can find something to answer those, but there's a lot more in there than that. All right. Oh, how do you deal with a negative person?
Oh, that was mine that I already added, so we'd already discussed that one.
We kind of talked about it. Yeah. Just.
So I guess
all right.
We'll pass that one.
All right. What are the best books you have read? God, that's a hard one. Well, I think, like, it's hard to think back, but some of the books that, like, say from a self-helpy kind of perspective, or what's the better word for self-help? I don't like that. Like, self-actualization or self-realization. Well, I just, and I think you posted this, I just read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Mason. Yeah. Oh my God, that was amazing.
I'm like about 3/4 of the way through, but I'm loving it so much.
Yeah, I really like it. I read also, so I'm just thinking recently, because my memory is sometimes short. Gabrielle Bernstein, she has a new book out now, Judgment Detox. I haven't read that one, but the one before that was The Universe Has Your Back. Yeah. Like, these are really easy reads. Like, I'm not into, like, I have some Tony Robbins books. I have some, like, Deepak Chopra, like, all these Eckhart Tolle. Like, I have a hard time reading those books. I got to say, like, I'm more of a podcast person these days. Like, put on some podcasts, which I have tons of podcasts that I like. But, so the Gabby Bernstein, The Universe Has Your Back, is really good in that, like, just shows you that you're not alone, and that there's a bigger picture, and that we work from such a scarcity place a lot, so that our decisions that we make are based in fear and worry and that kind of thing. But when you, if you start to notice that, then you can take control of it a little more. A cool business book I read a couple years ago, we did it in our in-law mastermind group, it was called Rework. Now, I don't know who wrote it. He'd probably really like that one too. It's just about like doing things differently.
Yeah.
You know, not like following what people think you should be doing or what others have done. What else? I have so many I want to read now. I just got for Christmas Viktor Frankl's The Measure of, I forget what it's called. Oh my goodness. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor, and one of my favorite quotes is one that he has said, and he said, between stimulus and response, so kind of like with the negative person, stimulus and response, there is a space, and within that space lies your choice, and within that choice lies your growth and freedom. So I quote that all the time. I'm like, I have to read his book, but it's a heavy book, I think. So I haven't started yet because I'm actually reading some yoga training books. I got a training coming up in February. So yeah, it's. I don't read a ton, and then I try to read like nonfiction, like
exactly. In the same way.
Yeah.
Like one of the ones that I have really enjoyed. I've had it for quite a while, but
or some fiction, I guess. I always get that mixed up. Fiction is not true, right?
Yeah, fiction is not true.
Yeah, I try to read fiction, but and non like fiction. I always have lots of books, like I'm reading anatomy books, and I'm reading, so.
The same way, but one of the ones I started with lately, I kind of started it in the fall, but it's one of the ones, I really like books that you can like pick up and read a little bit, and put it down and come back to.
Yeah.
So like each chapter is kind of like an individual little lesson.
And those two I mentioned, like the subtle art of not giving a fuck, and am I allowed to say one?
Yeah. I do too, so it's fine.
Yeah, all right. Or May Cosmeric, no. The Universe Has Your Back. Like they're short chapter books almost. Yeah, what one are...
the one that I've been reading is Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. I'm mentioning him a lot
I've heard.
He's just the bomb, but each chapter, like he like takes from like information from just like people who are performing at the top of their field,
right?
And he puts like each one in a little chapter and like with their best advice, And he just put out another one called Tribe of Mentors, but each chapter is only like each little section is only like maybe like 4 pages, and they're divided into like healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Oh, so yes, actually, that's like a little mantra I have sometimes. I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I'll have to look at that. Another one?
Another one.
All right. I'll take this blue one. Ooh, what qualities do you think are the most important for a leader? It's funny. Oh my gosh. There was so I was just thinking to an Instagram post I saw earlier from a woman I follow, and she had this good acronym for CEO. I can't remember what it was now, but I can share it later. But it was like something, it was an awareness thing. Anyway, so I wish I could remember because it was really good. Leadership, I think, is like, do you mean leader of others or just...
Whatever you kind of define as a leader, it's open to your interpretation.
Yeah, I guess because now that I'm in my like own boss world, like I feel like I don't have as many leaders in my life. I don't know if that, but I would think a leader, like most important qualities are compassion and being able to see, like again, we just talked about everybody as kind of similar to each other, so not like taking ego out of it, and not there's always this talk about whether, employees and employers should be friends on Facebook and stuff like that. Like I've seen that kind of stuff lately, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. Like you're going to spend a lot of time with your work colleagues, whatever that they are, be it fellow yoga teachers or like coworkers, or so getting to know the people that you work with, I think as other people, as humans, is like very important. And as a leader, like letting each person flourish in a way that works for them. Yeah.
That is super great advice.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I don't know.
No, those are like such true things. And I know like some of my favorite people who I have in my life right now, I've met through working here, like Anna Smith. She is a director of operations here at Common Ground, and her and I just love her so much because we're so similar. And anyway, we will
excellent.
One more.
Okay, one more. I'm going to dig deep for this one. Oh.
Ooh, I think this is one that came from Instagram. This was one that came from Instagram today.
Ooh, as someone who makes your own schedule, how do you keep yourself focused and limit distractions? We had that little chat earlier. For me, I guess and I think if you are going to make your own schedule, you're the type of person self-motivated anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think
exactly.
So for me, I love lists. Like I have many notebooks and mini lists. I like the bullet journal, that method.
Journal.
And I also use the Pomodoro technique, or part of it, setting a timer. So the few things I do is I look at my week like every Sunday night, early Monday morning, and I'm like, okay, what do I have on the go and what do I want to accomplish? And then so meetings, appointments, things like that. And then I schedule like, okay, so Monday afternoon, I'm going to do this. Tuesday evening, I'm going to do this, whatnot. And then I use the Pomodoro technique or some sort of like time blocking technique to say like for the next half hour, I'm going to work on this and I'm going to then take a break or whatnot. Those things work really well for me, but I also know, like again, tuning into what makes you feel a certain way. Like if I don't keep myself on task, I feel really terrible. Like I beat myself up a lot. So, and I have different I always try to fit in some sort of physical activity every day as well. So to me, like also working for yourself, it's not like just you're sitting at your desk doing your work. Like I get my best ideas or solve my problems when I'm out on a hike or when I'm for a run or on a yoga mat, like that kind of thing. So, or when I'm in meditation or something like that. So those things I think make a schedule. So when you have your own schedule, make a schedule. Don't just wake up in the morning and say, okay, what am I going to do today? Like plan like the week, plan the month, plan the quarter. Go with the flow, be able to flexible with it, and then be focused with whatever works for you. Like turn down the social media. Like I have an issue with that. I'm still like sometimes like on my 5-minute break, I'll check in like Facebook or something. I'm like, no, I really should do something else. Like go,
Exactly. And it's so funny that you say that about like bullet journaling because I've so forever I've been carrying around like 3 notebooks at a time, and I'm always just so frustrated because I'm like, this is just not cutting it because I have an agenda and I have like a notebook that I'm writing like ideas in, and like then I have another notebook just for like other things, and I was like, this just isn't working. So I actually made a bullet journal just at the first.
Oh, I think I just saw you some posts about that. Yeah, you use all different markers. You're awesome.
That was like the first of the week. Now now I'm in like the 3rd week of it. Like my pens are just not the same anymore. It's gone downhill. But, I find it super amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. I got like the one I wish I had here to show you guys, but like the pages come out of it and you can move them around.
Oh, nice.
Which I find
you have to post a picture of it again.
I totally will.
Yeah, I just buy this brand called Studio O at Chapters. I think you can get them downtown as well, and at Posey Row, and they're not too thick and they fit in my bag, and so I do have different ones for different things. But generally on my desk every day, this one opens up. Like I love, you can get big, beautiful journals. You can like the Passion Planner, and Danielle Laporte has some, and Carrie Green, who's the female entrepreneur, I don't know if you know her, she has this beautiful organizer, but like I want to carry it with me. So like all these big books, like they're not going to go in my bag with me, right? So
and it's so funny because I just so I went to an Enlo conference with Mandy Woodland the other morning. And,
her Woo Bar.
If you guys have a chance to go to that, it's friggin' amazing. You should totally go. But the thing that she had, wait, I lost my train of thought here. Oh my goodness. Oh, right. So I brought a notebook to it. And I haven't used a notebook actually since I went to the MPO conference last year.
Right.
And also saw Mandy's presentation. Yeah, different one. But in front of the notebook, I had started doing like gratitude journaling.
Oh, yeah.
So at the end of the day, I was just like writing down like the good things that happened. So like I was focusing at the end of the day, like just writing down, these are the things that made me happy today. And when I was looking at it the other morning, I was like, wow. I was like, oh, I remember that. Like, and I was like smiling, and I was happy.
You smile again,
And I was like thinking back, and I was like, the problems that I had that day, I don't remember. I didn't know them, right? I was like, these are all just like. So I went to the mall last night, like the winner's homeware section. Oh. Like, oh my god, it's my happy place. But I went and got a little journal again, and that's what I started doing. So I wrote my first one last night.
So just a gratitude journal.
Yeah. Just like I write down like the things that happened that day that made me happy. And
So important, so important. Writing it down is so important, and then reading it back is really important too. Yeah, like reading it again. You know, oh, so good. That's awesome.
And I was like so dedicated. Like I was dedicated for like 2 weeks before, but then I just didn't really realize the value in it because I wasn't looking back at it. But then like a year later, and I was looking back at it, and I was like, oh, like this is like really good. So in my journal last night, I was like, went to winter. It's got a beautiful new bowl.
Yeah.
So I'm like a 9-year-old on the inside.
Oh, I have some gift certificates from Winners that I'm like holding on to. I'm like, what am I going to spend them on? Yeah. And it'll be homeware stuff. Like the clothes, I wear the yoga clothes all the time, but the houseware stuff, in my next life, I'll be an interior decorator. Maybe later in this one, but.
I always say to my mom, I'm like, if nothing else works out in my life, I was like, I think I will be like a kitchen designer / professional organizer.
Oh, yeah.
One of the other books I just got this week was like The Life-Changing Magic of Tidy
Oh,
Shop.
yes, I've read that one. Yes, that one's good. Now, I feel like I'm already really organized, so, but the purging thing, and I do fold my clothes some of the ways she said to fold, and I've done that now for over a year or so it works,
So, everyone, thank you for watching, and this will be up on iTunes later this afternoon, and thank you so much to Susan for giving us your wellness tips.
It was fun. I'll come back anytime. I could talk for a long time, so thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye.